Hi, everybody. Steve Scott here, and I'd like to discuss briefly the concept of Kobo Ichi. Kobo Ichi means attack and defense are one and the same. Kobo, attack and defense. Ichi, one, or meaning one and the same. And it's an old Japanese, even a Chinese, even further back than that, but I know it's a Japanese tactical approach to combat that we use in many of our martial arts. I first read about this in the mid to late 70s, reading the works of Don Draeger, one of my favorite authors, and I use him quite often in a lot of my reference material for my books and my videos here and everything. So anything you can get by Don Draeger is great. And he started writing about, he wrote about Kobo Ichi. Again, my first exposure was to it somewhere in the mid to late 70s. And it just struck a chord in me. It just made a lot of sense that attack and defense are one and the same thing. And I thought about that a lot, and I know a lot of other instructors have as well. But I know also, I might add here, this is not a concept that's widely known or used, even though it is one of the underlying principles of Judo and just about all our modern forms of martial arts and martial arts sports especially. So what it is basically is you're always looking for the advantage over your opponent. Okay, whether it's a competitive situation, say in Judo or Sambo or something like that, or in a real world fight, like in a self-defense situation. It's what I often call aggressive defense. In other words, you may have to do a defensive action, but as soon as as soon as you see the opening, as soon as you nullify that attack, immediately go on the offense. Okay, and really, it just makes a lot of common sense. It's used in a lot of other sports. You see it in wrestling, you see it in football, you see it in all kinds of sports, and of course, real world practice and self-defense, or even combat. But I think the concept of Kobo Ichi and that phrase really gives it a good descriptive narrative as to what it does, and that helps me as a coach teach it better to my athletes. So when I'm working with my guys on a hip block, a hip cut, in defense against a throw. Okay, we stop that. We nullify the opponent's initial attack. We immediately go on the offense. Okay. Now sometimes he may throw a weak attack at us, and we block it rather aggressively, and that sets up a real aggressive response on our part. So it's not always an equal response, to your opponent's attack. You may attack even stronger. Or you may see, well, you may back away a little bit and attack it a little stronger at a different time. So the whole concept, the whole idea is a tactical one of the ebb and flow of a real fight, and always looking for the advantage and always looking to improve your position, to improve your situation. So Kobo Ichi works. It's an offense, it's a defense. They're one and the same, depending on the situation, depending on the time. Is the time right in that particular instance? And that's what Kobo Ichi is. It's rather simple in nature, but you can apply it tactically in so many different ways. So anyway, I call it an aggressive defense. I've written about that in some of my books and some of our videos we've done, but it makes a lot of sense. And it's not one of those things that you read a lot or have heard a lot about that's in the mainstream of in Judo or Jiu-Jitsu or anything else. Again, I don't know if too many people have written a whole lot about it, with the exception of Don Draeger. But it makes a lot of sense. So anyway, that is the concept of Kobo Ichi, and I hope you can use this in some way tactically to enhance your training and your coaching and your own skills. So that's it on Kobo Ichi. Thanks for watching.